It was midnight, and the silence had enveloped the town like a thick, misty shroud. Only the faint sounds of the wind and the distant hoots of owls could be heard. The townsfolk had been savoring this silence for years, until that fateful night. In the far corner of the town, right at the edge of the forest, stood an old farmhouse that appeared abandoned for years. No one knew why the house had been abandoned, but everyone agreed it was an eerie place. According to the story, years ago, a family living in that house had mysteriously disappeared. Their traces had vanished, and their house had been left deserted. One day, the town's youth decided to spend a night in that house. They summoned their courage and set off towards the old farmhouse. When the group arrived at the house around midnight, the town's silence felt even more oppressive. They opened the door and stepped inside. Feeling that something was amiss, the interior of the house was shrouded in darkness, with tattered wallpaper adorning the walls in places. Old furniture and dusty items confirmed the abandoned state of the house. The group attempted to illuminate the house by lighting a few candles, but the flickering light of the candles only accentuated the eerie atmosphere. For a few hours, the group was unnerved by mysterious sounds and strange shadows. They found bizarre inscriptions on the walls and discovered a room, though the faces in the photographs had deteriorated with time. Moments of happiness from the past had once been captured. As the night advanced, group members began to separate and lose themselves within the house. The screams of one mixed with the whispers of another, and everyone began searching for each other. However, in the process, the house became even more mysterious. Finally, one member of the group stumbled upon a terrifying discovery. In the dark depths of the house's basement, they found evidence that the old family members had met a mysterious and gruesome end. Lifeless bodies, decayed and decomposed, lay in the dark room. In a panic, the group rushed back to the entrance of the house, only to find the door had closed behind them. Inside, they could feel something approaching, but the darkness concealed whatever it was. At last, the door creaked open, and the group stumbled out in terror. As they fled from the old farmhouse, many were injured, and they couldn't fathom what had transpired. After that day, the town's residents steered clear of the old farmhouse, convinced that something terrible still lurked within. The people of the town couldn't forget that dreadful night, and the old farmhouse remained etched in their memories as a dark and mysterious place. No one knew exactly what had occurred in that house, but since that day, the town was never the same, and an eerie silence reigned. Years passed, but the curse of the old farmhouse still loomed over the town. The townsfolk couldn't help but feel a shiver down their spines whenever they passed by that house. Sometimes, memories of that terrifying night would resurface in their dreams, and some claimed to hear the voices of Malevo. A few brave individuals, years later, decided to investigate the old farmhouse. This group formed a research team with the intention of uncovering the mystery within. They believed themselves to be well prepared, armed with advanced technology and equipment to confront any paranormal occurrences. However, they had no idea of the challenges that lay ahead. The group shattered the silence of the town once more, as they opened the door to the abandoned farmhouse. On entering, they found the old house still shrouded in silence and darkness. Yet, this time, they were better equipped with technology and equipment. They embarked on a journey through the house, documenting their every move to uncover the enigma. Many paranormal events occurred during their investigation. Touches from invisible entities, strange sounds, and moving shadows. The team attempted to record all these occurrences, but found nothing was clear. At every moment, they sensed something lurking deep within the house. As the night progressed, one member of the group disappeared. The others frantically searched for their missing comrade, but they couldn't find a trace. The member's voice was heard, but it was different and naturally high-pitched and utterly chilling. "Welcome," it said. Panic-stricken, the group attempted to flee the house, but the doors slammed shut once again. The lights within the house went out, plunging them into darkness. The group desperately looked for a source of light but couldn't find one. Unseen forces and mysterious shadows closed in on them. In their frantic search for the missing member, The group members gradually lost sight of each other, the shadows slowly encroached on them, and they felt icy breaths on their necks. Eventually, they all disappeared into an impenetrable darkness. The townsfolk noticed the group had not returned that night. The police investigated the house, but they found no evidence or clues. The house remained abandoned once more, however. From that day onward, no one dared approach the old farmhouse, as the townsfolk were convinced that the house was harboring a malevolent curse. The house remained a dark memory for the town, with its secrets well guarded, a place no one would ever venture near, for fear of the horrifying enigma concealed. In the misty town of Ravenswood, there was a tale of an abandoned mansion hidden deep within the forest. The townsfolk believed in the curse of this old stone building known as the Hawthorne Mansion, and it cast a shadow over the town for centuries. The owners of the mansion, the Hawthorne family, were the most prestigious and enigmatic family in the town. This family became the centerpiece of many horror stories among the townspeople. Everyone was afraid to approach the Hawthorne Mansion, believing that strange sounds were heard inside and the ghosts roamed its halls. One young man from the town, James, known for his courage, didn't believe in these stories. He, along with his friends, decided one day to visit the mansion. They found an overgrown path leading to the mansion in the nearby forest, a path that had been unused for years. As they entered the mansion, the eerie silence and ominous atmosphere immediately gripped them. James and his friends felt the doors closing on their own, and faint whispers seemed to come from the walls. James tried to reassure his friends that it was just the wind, but his explanations grew less. When they reached the top floor of the mansion, they found themselves in a vast library. Dust-covered books lined the shelves. James pushed a book on the shelf and, in doing so, discovered a hidden passage. They ventured through the secret passage and found themselves in a room they had never seen before. The room, like the others, appeared old and abandoned, but its walls were covered in strange symbols. James began to examine the symbols and instantly felt that something was amiss. The symbols represented a curse that had imprisoned the Hawthorne Mansion. As they hurried to exit the mansion, James and his friends believed they had escaped the curse. However, the mansion's shadow never truly left them, and the townsfolk never saw James and his friends again. The Hawthorne Mansion still loomed over Ravenswood, and the townsfolk believed that the curse of the forgotten mansion persisted. This tale continued to circulate among the townspeople as a reminder of a lingering curse, and no one dared to approach the mansion's gates. In the town of Ravenswood, the townsfolk continued to narrate various myths and legends about the curse of the Hawthorne Mansion. The forest surrounding the mansion maintained its mystery and gloom. However, as time passed, doubts regarding the authenticity of this story began to grow. Emily, a new resident of Ravenswood, was one who defied the town's beliefs. She considered the curse of the Hawthorne Mansion as nothing more than a scary story. She saw herself as a brave and rational person and scoffed at the town's hysteria. One night, Emily stumbled upon an old legend passed down by the local natives. According to the legend, the Hawthorne Mansion was a structure specially constructed by the Hawthorne family, the founders of the town. However, as the family became increasingly isolated with the town's growth, they projected their own alienation and pain onto the mansion. The symbols etched onto the mansion's walls were part of their souls, carrying the family's curse. Emily resolved to delve deeper into this legend and sought historical records of the town. During her research, she unearthed documents that confirmed that the family had indeed added special symbols to the mansion, which carried the curse. Yet, when she shared this information, the townsfolk were unwilling to believe her. Their existing fears and beliefs overshadowed Emily's efforts. Undeterred, Emily decided to venture into the Hawthorne Mansion to conduct further scientific research. As she explored the mansion, she felt that something was amiss when she examined the mysterious symbols. Suddenly, the symbols came to life, and Emily was drawn deeper into the mansion, just like James and his friends before. Emily appeared to succumb to the curse of the mansion. This time, however, the townsfolk were aware of a real danger. But they were uncertain about what to do. The Hawthorne Mansion continued to loom as a shadow over the town, and perhaps the curse was now bay.